Music of the Jackson Symphony Orchestra, Matt Aubin. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Bart. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
All ready for the first concert of the season?
I think we will be. We had our first rehearsal Tuesday night. As I tend to remind everyone, the Jackson Symphony Orchestra is a professional paid orchestra. And the way that works is that the musicians get the music about 2 weeks in advance of the first rehearsal. We come together during the concert week for, depending on the program, sometimes 4 rehearsals, sometimes 3 rehearsals, sometimes only 1. And that's when we get on the same page in terms of what I want out of the music, and also maybe what we need to do in terms of a balancing process so that we get the right kind of mix. I sometimes tell people a conductor's job is almost like you see a DJ who's mixing, or somebody at a soundboard and they're mixing a band. I'm doing that same thing, but with people that are playing acoustical instruments.
Well, each of the musicians, they've had the music. They're practicing on their own.
Yeah.
But it really is amazing to hear a concert and know that there's only been 1 or 2 rehearsals.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. And this particular program, which is all American music, anytime you're talking about American music, really you're talking about music that at the earliest is probably the beginning of the 20th century, but more than likely we're really talking from about 1940 onward. And so with that means it's more contemporary. The more contemporary music is, oftentimes the more difficult it is, because music has evolved. And classical music, we've added instruments, music has become more complex. What the musicians have been able to do has changed over time, so that we have really some virtuosic playing in this program.
So being American music, is it going to be more recognizable for the audience? Well,
the piece that ends the program, and the piece that was kind of my starting point in developing the program, was not from Los Angeles. Actually, it's by Aaron Copland, and it's his 3rd symphony. A lot of people know Copland because of his Hoedown from Rodeo, or his Simple Gifts as part of Appalachian Spring, which were 2 ballet pieces that he wrote in the 40s. And his ballet music was considered to be a real shift in developing a truly American style of music, and a style that we would call populist. It was really relatable. It's easy to listen to. And so then, also during the war, in 1943, he was commissioned, as were several other composers, to write a fanfare. And he wrote this piece called Fanfare for the Common Man, which is just brass and percussion, but has become iconic. It's used in popular culture.
The Olympics used it.
Yeah. It's just one of these heroic, noble pieces that I think is an encapsulation of the American spirit. And when you think about 1943, in the midst of World War II, when times were a little dark, it's poignant that way. Well, so when he got this commission to write his 3rd symphony, which is about a 45-minute work, he took the fanfare as a starting point and developed the first 3 movements using little fragments. Like, you'd have to really search to hear the fanfare in the first 3 movements, but as like somebody that's studying the music, I can see how he took that as some of the building blocks. But then in the last movement, rather than stating it right away with the brass, he starts the last movement with just the flutes playing this majestic melody. And then once the woodwinds state it once, then he actually states the full fanfare. And then the rest of the movement, the close of the symphony, is kind of a riff off of this. People have described it as the Great American Symphony. It's one of the most hopeful, heroic pieces. And again, considering that it was written between 1944 and 1946, we understand the time that it was written in. It's a real sign of hope.
I like that. It's a great way to leave people an uplifting piece.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, Greetings from Los Angeles is the theme, and all season it's Greetings from.
Correct.
And with this concert, you're featuring someone from Jackson as a contributor?
Well, okay, we were supposed to.
Ah,
So you set me up a little bit here. So yes, we were supposed to feature Marcus Norris, who's been a collaborator with us a bunch of times. Marcus got the opportunity to write for an Apple TV show, and so he had to make the tough decision to hold off on our project and do that, which is a really great opportunity for him. So I had to shift course a little bit, and so I picked this piece by a Hollywood composer from the 40s named Erich Korngold. And Korngold is actually an Austrian composer, but because of the Anschluss and the fact that he was Jewish, he decided right before World War II in the late 30s to move his family out to Hollywood, where he'd already been composing. Some people of a certain generation may know like Robin Hood or Seahawk or some of these older movies, and he was writing mainly for Hollywood. But finally, after the war was over, he wrote this violin concerto, which quickly became a part of the repertoire. Jascha Heifetz, who's a very famous virtuoso violinist, premiered it with the St. Louis Symphony, and we've got this great guy, Will Hagen, coming in to perform it. And in addition to performing it with us, he's performed it in Europe with the Frankfurt Symphony. You can actually go on YouTube and watch him perform this same Korngold violin concerto. It's got over 100,000 views on YouTube. He does it from memory. I'm just so excited to get to work with him. And then he's also doing this little project. He's very interested in the connection between nature and music. And so on Friday, he's going to be doing a presentation at the Dahlem Center at 3 o'clock out there. So it's really nice when our soloists do more than just the gig.
yeah, and you've got a couple other soloists in Saturday's concert.
Yeah. So I mean, just the other folks will be really, when I guess we talk about our soloists, we'll be talking about just all of our musicians. I would say the whole orchestra plays a solo part in this piece. I should tell you just a little bit. So that's my connection to Los Angeles, is the violin concerto for this, but also the opener for the season and for the concert is by a composer named John Adams, who's a living composer, born in 1947. I actually got to meet him last year. I would consider him to be in classical music, one of the most popular composers, and along with Philip Glass and Jennifer Higdon and John Crigliano. There's a few that are of a certain generation that are really good. And he wrote a piece called Short Ride in a Fast Machine, which he described as, imagine if someone asks you to take a ride in their new sports car and then you wish you hadn't. Like it's just kind of a wild ride. And so he wrote this fanfare back in the 80s, which is about 4.5 minutes long, and it uses what we would call minimalistic techniques, where the music, for the most part, stays kind of static, but as changes are introduced, because of the static nature of it, the changes get really highlighted and emphasized. And it's just a barn burner. It's virtuosic for the brass. He actually calls for 2 synthesizers that are playing analog brass patches and just playing all the way through it as kind of fabric. And when you think about that, it was written in the 1980s, and you think about like things like Beverly Hills Cop and like the synthesizers that were used in a lot of the 80s film music, you can see why maybe he incorporated that instrument. It's funny that this piece now is almost 40 years old, but is one of the most widely played contemporary pieces of music.
All right, that's Saturday night at Potter Center. Tickets at the Jackson Symphony website, or you can also call 782-3221. Make plans to be there Saturday night. Later in the month, the Jackson Symphony will be presenting their annual Halloween concert.
Right, so we did this for the first time last year. It was super successful. The way we organized it was to have it be free for children and only $5 for adults. So we're really hoping that this reaches a lot of the community. It's a shorter program, no intermission, a little bit like just around an hour. There's some interaction, some pre-concert activities, and a lot of your spooky Halloween favorites. We're actually really excited to welcome one of my mentors, Edward Cumming, who's going to be the guest conductor for it. And yeah, I'm just really excited to be able to do it again. And we actually we got support from the National Endowment for the Arts. They're really underwriting a significant portion of the concert so that we can offer it for the reduced price.
Should kids wear their Halloween costumes?
Oh, absolutely. I think the musicians are going to wear their Halloween costumes too.
Ah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I've seen you wear costumes various concerts. I believe the very first concert you ever conducted was the Pops at Riverwalk Amphitheater, and you were dressed as Star Wars?
Oh, you're really close. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had my jacket on, and I had Clark Kent glasses and a Superman, and we started with the Superman, and then I took my jacket off to reveal my muscles. Yeah.
So I guess you have to be in the audience to know what.
You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. I know the last year it was sellout. Even though it's free, you need to have tickets.
Yep.
So you got to get tickets.
Yeah, just go on our website, jacksonsymphony.org. It's very easy.
Yeah. And this the Michigan Theater has limited capacity because of their scaffolding that's up during the restoration, so they can have a limited number of seats available. So get your tickets fast.
Yeah, for sure.
Great. And the Music on Tap kicked off with over 160 people last Saturday.
That we're in our 10th year of Music on Tap, and I remember when like 60 people was a good audience in there, and it was as low as 40, and it's really just grown over time. And it's a very eclectic mix. Sometimes it's a singer-songwriter, sometimes it's bluegrass, the Irish band, jazz, but overall people obviously like it because it grows bigger and bigger every year. And I love that we're reaching more of our community. I always say that my philosophy is that the JSO, we should have something for everyone. So hopefully we're doing that.
Yeah, and there might be something that you've never been interested in before. And I see a lot of people that they go to every single one.
Yes.
But no one, and I'm not kidding, no one ever leaves at intermission.
No, it's true. And I, especially with the classical concerts, my approach is that I'm going to say a couple of things from the podium, and I'm going to try to talk to the people that are there for the first time and give everyone something to listen to. So even if there's a few folks that maybe are seasoned pros and don't need me to tell them anything, I really want to welcome our new folks in and hopefully maybe teach them a little bit something. I'm a teacher at heart, and so I want you to know a little bit about the music that we're performing and give you a better appreciation, because I really believe in the art.
Great. Have a fantastic show Saturday, and thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Music Director Matt Aubin, JSO. A few other things happening this